So if you are one of the few people that are up this late, I'm glad you're here. And if you're one of the few people like me that, or actually there are probably more of us than there aren't, are you one of those people that realizes this is the only time of day that you have your house to yourself? Me. It's quiet. No one is hungry. And I can sit here in my own thoughts and drink hot tea and just enjoy the quiet, right? Please up the volume. Well, I'm just talking quietly because I don't want anybody to wake up. Yeah, what a treat. It's Monday night, almost 11 p.m. I was about to say Eastern North Carolina time. I think that's also called Eastern Standard, Eastern Standard Time. And I was just having this thought. So in 2 weeks from today, I will be in Stillwater, Minnesota, sharing this book with my two co-authors and very good friends, Carrie Cariello and Kate Swinson. And 2 weeks from today. So between now and then, I'm supposed to sell 8 zillion books so I can get on the New York Times bestseller list. That's my own, that's what I would like to do. And is that going to happen? I don't know. But if I don't have a goal, then it's definitely not going to happen. And I think one thing that I've learned from this journey and belonging to my own special person, which is why I said welcome to Holland, because it's a poem that was one of the first things that was given to me when, we found out we had a child with a disability. And still, all the time, like just this week, somebody said, have you ever heard of the poem Welcome to Holland? And I almost should be like, no, what is it about? But anyway, what was I saying? No, I've forgotten. Oh, I know. So, like saying, I want to be on the New York Times bestseller list, right? There are some people that, like, they don't tell you things. They might not tell you where they want to go to college, right? Because they think, well, if I admit it and I don't get in, then I'm going to be sad or something. So, when my children, well, I've only had one child apply to college so far, but I was like, own it. If you want to go to Carolina or wherever you want to go, own it. Say, this is where I want to go. And if you don't get in, it's okay, right? But it's okay to own your truth. And currently, my truth is I really want this book to get to people. And I want it to be on the New York Times bestseller list. And not just so I can say it's on the New York Times bestseller list, because honestly, it's kind of like saying you got into Harvard. You can't tell anybody because then they'll hate you. But I really want it there because I know that people need to read it, and I want them to get it, and I want them to have an opportunity for it. So there's this poem, Welcome to Holland, and it was written in the 80s, and it's really a neat poem. And the author talks about how she's planning this trip to Italy, and she's going to go to Italy, and it's amazing, and it's going to be such a good trip. And they get on the plane. I can't remember if their whole family goes or what happens, but they get to their destination, and the flight attendant says, "Welcome to Holland," and they're like, or the author's like, "Holland? What? No, I'm not in Holland. I'm supposed to be in Italy." And then the person not in Italy, they in Holland. And they're like, now we're in Holland. Holland isn't as like sexy as Italy. It's kind of slow. There's windmills. Like windmills are pretty. There's Rembrandts. Like maybe it doesn't have, the Sistine Chapel, but there's a Rembrandt in Holland. And Holland is kind of slower paced. And you know what? I like Holland. And I thought I wanted to go to Italy. And I hear all these people talking about Italy, but I like Holland. And it's so cliche, but it really is true. Like that is belonging to Amos. Though I will say sometimes Amos is not Holland. Sometimes Amos is like North Korea. Sometimes belonging to Amos feels like you're in Los Angeles. Sometimes it feels like you're in Edenton. Sometimes you feel lonely. Sometimes you feel very busy. Um, but it's definitely not the path I thought I would take. Does tea keep you up all night? No, it's decaffeinated tea. It's a wonderful invention. Mm. But I will say I was texting with a friend tonight, and so I found out a good friend's daughter just got this amazing scholarship at NC State called the Park Scholarship. And I was like, that's amazing. That's so great. And I was like thinking, like, boy, I know the parents are excited, right? You're like, finally, like I've worked all this time and something has happened wonderful, right? And then I had this other friend texting, and she was like, I don't know what we should do about high school. Where should our child go? Like, what's the right thing to do? And she said something along the lines of, kids are hard. And I think sometimes I like have dreamt up in my head that typical kids are easy and that kids with disabilities are hard. But it's not true. And I will tell you, all the time, I have one child that is particularly needy. And sometimes it's the one with autism, and sometimes it's the oldest one, and sometimes it's the girl, and sometimes it's the middle one. It's never easy. And as soon as you think it might be easy, something happens and it's not easy. So maybe life for everybody is Holland. Maybe it's not just the mamas of the children that kind of fell out of the nest. Maybe life in itself is Holland, right? This is Deep Thoughts by Stuart Smalley, aka Adrian Wood, author of Autism Out Loud. And my book is really like, it hits on that. It's life in Holland, and um, I talk about this is in the pretty beginning of the book, and life had changed more than I knew possible, and despite my grief, I was determined to make friends with our new normal. Just 3 years before, I'd been lying on a table in my OBGYN's office waiting for an ultrasound. My husband and I were raising three fairly typical children who were ages 3, 4, and 6. We believed our family was complete and life was busy and good. That morning, while I was in yoga class, the thought occurred to me that I hadn't had a real period in over 2 months. I rolled up my mat and casually asked my instructor, who is also my cousin, if she had any pregnancy tests lying around. I promise you this is a true story. My co-authors swear that I make stuff up like this, but it's true. My cousin will vouch for me. She looked at me quizzically, and I assured her it was very unlikely since I had been on birth control since the birth of our daughter, who was, at this point 4 or 3 or whatever she was. She found a test buried in a bathroom drawer, which I unwrapped, and after following the instructions, I sat in her kitchen to wait the required allotment of time. After a few minutes, curiosity got the best of me, and when I peeked, the color drained from my face. My OBGYN's office was beside my cousin's house. So I walked through the back door of the office and announced we had an emergency. You know you live in a small town when that's a viable option. The office manager took pity on me and told me to come back in 30 minutes. this was after I didn't write this in the book, but I did say to the office manager, who was the wife of my OBGYN, I've just taken a pregnancy test and it's positive. And she said, maybe it's a false positive. And I was like, do you ever see those? And she went, no. So anyway, she said, come back in 30 minutes. Before I knew it, I was shifting on green pleather covered with crinkly paper. Minutes after the cool gel was slathered on my stomach, the ultrasound wand revealed a white scene amongst the black of thy womb, of my womb, not thy womb. What is that? I asked. It's your baby, he said. He estimated I was about 9 weeks along. That was the end of normal as I knew it. You won't have to buy it if I keep reading experts too. Oh, Linda. Linda, you need to spend more time in Holland. Linda loves to point out negative things about me. But Linda, I don't mind if you feel negative, though I would encourage you to be positive because it will make other people positive. You also are not required to be here. This is totally optional. This is for people who are kind and sweet at night. Yes. And I like to read parts of the book because I think when you have a book called Autism Out Loud, you think, well, why does that apply to me? You know, what does that have to do? Did you call Thomas at work immediately? Jennifer, you're going to have to read the book. That's the very next sentence. I called Thomas. And you can read all about his response. So anyway, it's Holland, right? Life is Holland. And I think every time you think, oh, I've kind of got it down. What do you mean by saying Holland? So if you're tuning in, there's a poem called Welcome to Holland. And it was written by a woman that it's her experience as being a special needs mom. And they talk about how they get on this plane and they're going to Italy, and the flight attendant, used to be called the stewardess, said, welcome to Holland. And they were like, no, we're in Italy. We're not in Holland. We're in Italy. Can't wait to get my book. Well, if you have not ordered it, I have put up the link. You can order it a zillion different places. I've been pushing Amazon for a few days because I would like to get in the top 100 books on Amazon. It's nice to see you have on clothes. These are pajamas, darn it. Why do you want to be on the bestsellers list? Said Leanne. Because it means a lot of people are getting my book. I really want people to read this book because I remember how lonely I was when I got the diagnosis. I could just cry thinking about it. I was so lonely, and I thought I was just drowning in hurt and grief. And I think if I'd had a book like this, I wouldn't have felt like that. You know, I would have read this book and I would have laughed and I would have cried and I would have thought, well, there are other people out here like me and I'm going to be okay. You know, and I didn't know that. All I knew was the way I was feeling was grief, deep seated grief. And the only grief I had ever known was what it was like to lose my only sibling, my brother, to cancer. And I couldn't wrap my mind around how I was feeling the same way over something that wasn't cancer. I just didn't even know it was a possibility. I thought you grieve cancer. I didn't know you grieved other things, right? Like not being in Italy or autism. And I didn't know it was a possibility. I didn't know it was a possibility. Did you buy 300 copies yourself? Yes, I did, Leanne, because I have several events where I'll be selling books, and I'm also going to be giving books away and hopefully selling books all over my small town. So when people come, they'll see it. Um, yeah, and pre-ordering a book is really important because what's an empath? No, I don't know what an empath is. It doesn't sound good though. Anyway, I just didn't know that. I didn't know things were like this. Yay, Jesse just ordered. Um, it's I want people to have access because I think it can be isolating to have a child with a disability, particularly when you live in a small place because there might not be a lot of people like you. And even Kate Swinson, one of my co authors, she has like a pretty big network nearby. And she was like, it's lonely. And I think as your children get older, it's you're more removed from Italy, right? You're more in Holland because as Amos gets older, his peer group gets older. And when you're 3 or 4, right, your mom goes on play dates with you and you go to the soccer games and all the moms stay for the soccer games. Where now you hit middle school and you play sports, like you stay after school for sports. So then the gap becomes wider and then you're hitting high school. But like right now, Amos's buddies are going to spend the night at each other's houses and they can probably get dropped off for a practice by themselves. And I can't do those things, you know? Um, and that can be kind of lonely. Giving it to my daughter in law. She's a kindergarten teacher. Oh, I'm so glad. Um, not like a woe is me lonely, but just lonely. The biggest thing for me, said Phyllis, was trying to educate people. It was important to me. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I think not only educate them, but like want to feel like the world is a softer place, you know? And when you go to the grocery store or you go out to dinner, or maybe you're just out in public somewhere and people smile at you, you know? And that just makes such a difference to me. You've helped me understand my little grandson. You've helped me encourage my son and daughter-in-law. Thank you. Can't wait to read your book. Oh, that's makes me so happy. That is exactly like what I want. Because I think, wow, this probably would have helped my parents too, you know? I think my dad is 11 years into it and he's just kind of starting to understand Amos. It's taken a long time, you know? I'm so glad. Yeah, we went back. Amos and I've been to the grocery store a few times. We kind of had a hard incident at the grocery store, but we moved past it. And then when we were at the grocery store last week, this nice man that works in the grocery store was like, you had a hard week. And I'm sorry because I was like, you know, Amos is good at the grocery store. And so my community, for the most part, really knows Amos. And I have freedom because of feeling like Amos is safe, you know? Um, and that's what we want, right? Like, I want to be able to go to the grocery store and have somebody be like, Amos is over here. You know, like that's why I live in a small community. You talked your friend into buying the Audible copy. Yeah, so, you know, to me, Audible is really neat when you know the person or listen to the person or like the person. Like, I don't typically buy books, Audible books, because I prefer to read. But if I'm driving, then I do. I also really like podcasts, but This Audible is different because every chapter has three voices and we each read our own parts. And so I think if I had a good friend or somebody I really admired and they read their own parts of the book, three friends, I would want it. Even if I read it, I would like want to listen to it too. Like I'm excited to listen to this and I've already read the book, a half dozen times. Will your dad read the book? Yeah, I'm going to give my dad a copy of the book, like his own copy. Um, my husband is reading the book. My daughter read the book. My oldest son has the book. I don't know if he's read it yet. And my middle son has not read it yet. So there you have it. But yeah, I mean, boy, for any grandparent, and I just think a business owner, like 1 in 30 something has autism. Like we're always running into people that are neurodivergent. And probably a lot of the times we don't know. Is your father-in-law coming to Raleigh? So yeah, we have a really busy book tour schedule. This coming up weekend is like my last weekend home quiet for I don't even know till when. Probably till September, to be totally honest. I think we're busy every weekend. After next weekend, I'm not gonna make it. I don't do well with a lot of activity. I like a lot of downtime. So I don't know why I was telling you that. Why was I telling you that? Now I can't remember. Oh, the book tour. Yeah, so we'll be in Raleigh. We'll be in my two co-authors will be in Buffalo. One author will be in Pennsylvania. I'm gonna do Manio and probably Charlotte, and then we'll start 2 weeks from tonight. We'll be in Stillwater, Minnesota, and then the next day we fly to New York City, and we are going to be at the Corner Bookstore, which is the bookstore in the movie You've Got Mail, and we have tickets for that. They're free, but we just want to have an idea of how many people will be there. Oh, people are asking if my father-in-law. My father-in-law would love to be on the entire book tour, but he is he's takes effort to drag around. Will it be super hard on Amos me being gone? Amos does not love me being gone. And there's 1 week, the Minnesota, New York, Washington, D.C. week. I'm only home one night that week. Well, I'll be gone Sunday to Sunday, and I'll be home one night in the middle on purpose. And I mean, but our caregiver nanny is planning something fun for the weekend. So that'll be good. And then other than that, I'm not gone a whole week like that. I'm gone kind of 2 or 3 day stints here and there, but it's going to be a lot. In fact, today I ordered this giant post-it note. I should have gotten the post-it note calendar, but I'd already ordered the other one first. So I'm going to have to make a calendar, and I'm going to put it up on the wall in this kitchen or somewhere in here so I can mark where mommy is and when she's coming back. Will you be coming to Texas? Yes, we will be in Austin, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas. And if you go to autismoutloudbook.com, all our events are listed with links to get yourself a ticket. And then we will be in Jupiter, Florida, and Miami in October. When are you in Naperville? We are in Naperville on May 2nd. That's near Chicago. And on May 1st, we will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, at one of my alma maters, Meredith College. Let's discuss the book chapter by chapter each night. That's a good idea, Phyllis. Let me see how many chapters there are. We could start that right before it comes out. Let me look in the table of contents here. It's got 13 chapters, but it's got, let me see how long the introduction is. Could the introduction be one night? Probably could be a night. Let's see. There's an introduction, and then there's an epilogue. The epilogue is the epilogue where you write who it's to. I didn't do a very good job with that. I like Kate and Carrie's better. I think I was so sick of writing the darn book that I just was like, ugh. Thanks, everybody I know. Goodbye. Yeah, so that's 14. So yeah, I think we'll start doing that. That's a great idea. Will DB and Alice be at any of the book signings? My mom and dad. So I'm having a book signing in Edenton for my subscriber group, and then I'll do another one in Edenton. I don't have the date yet. So yes, my mom and dad, I'm sure will come to some of the closer ones. And then we'll do this summer, I'm going to probably hop over to Wilmington and Beaufort and Morehead City and New Bern, like basically any small Eastern North Carolina town that's near a Home Goods. I'll pop in there and see them. Wish I had a book like yours 50 years ago when I learned my son had a disability. Not autism, but many of the feelings and experiences were similar. Oh, you're so right. I know that's true, Judy. Yeah, my daughter read the book, and she read all of Kate's part, all of Carrie's part, and all of my part. And I really like that. Do you ever get annoyed that you support Kate at her events or retreats, but she has never come to the ones you have? No, I don't get annoyed. So I wrote the book with two authors, and Kate particularly has two pretty small children, and she's busy. And, I think if I really wanted Kate to come, she would come. And it's okay with me. Like, I think we're all making choices and we give each other grace. Like those two are going to Buffalo, and I'm not going to Buffalo because we have this big event in Edenton that weekend that's really important to my father-in-law. And I want to be here to participate in that. So I said, I can't go to Buffalo. It's Amos's spring break. I'm coming home. So, we all make choices. What if I did a book signing at Home Goods, Western North Carolina? Oh, I would like that. I have a lot of friends in, not a lot, but several in that spend the summer in is it Cashers? I think my mother always called it Cashiers. Posh Pelican. That's a good place to do a book signing. Oh, I'll definitely do it there. They'll let me. Yeah, Kate is coming to Meredith College with me in Raleigh. In fact, I need to get our hotel room. So there you have it. Where would you prefer us to buy the book? Well, to be totally honest, I would prefer you buy 3 books. One from Amazon, one from Audible, and then one from Valley Bookseller or Quail Ridge Books. But there's also Target, Barnes & Noble, Thrift Books. There's this Goodreads site. Goodreads is kind of interesting. And then it's a big deal to write about your review of the book once you get the book. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. When in Charlotte. Well, I don't actually have it on the calendar, but I would be willing to go to Charlotte, even though I fly to Charlotte when I go to Charlotte, because it's like 7 hours. Check out the library in Jacksonville. I have been to 2 book signings for Christy Harvey there. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, Christy Harvey is a friend of mine, and she lives in Beaufort, and she's an amazing best-selling author over and over again. And her newest book, I think, is Beach House Rules, and she's a big deal. Like, she sold a storyline to Hallmark. I mean, she's a big deal. And she does lots of book signings. And anyway, I really admire her. So there you have it. In fact, I went to her book signing in Edenton. I think she and I could do a video together and talk about book writing. That would be kind of fun. It's late. I know. It is late. I was so enjoying how quiet it is. Richmond. Oh, I do love to do something in Richmond. You know, I don't do as much speaking as I used to. I think it's traveling is really traveling got to a point where it was really hard. I had 4 kids at home. It just was too much. And I was starting to make some money on Facebook, so I didn't feel the pressure like I've got to earn some money because I can make money sitting right here in my pajamas. Not as much now, things have sort of changed, but that's another story. But so I don't do as much speaking now. I did something kind of recently in High Point, and but my book wasn't out because if it had been, I could have sold a ton of them. So now I think I'm back of like, okay, I will go. I have decided, no, over the next year, I will go somewhere, and if somebody buys 300 books, I will come and speak for free because I really want to sell books. Um, and I think Kate and Carrie would probably do the same thing. Hey, from Jacksonville, Florida, let us know about Charlotte. Come to Charlotte. Okay. What is Christy's last name? Christy Harvey, and it's Kristy. Christy Harvey. Hoping to see you in New York. I'm excited to be in New York. So, New York is kind of where a lot has happened in New York and my own personal story. Will you be in Rocky Mount? That is where I grew up. I would think I could do something in Rocky Mount. I've spoken in Rocky Mount. I'll try to. Um, New York is where I first heard the word autism 8 years ago on April 1st, or it was March 30th. We got kind of this preliminary autism diagnosis at Columbia. We had gone to the Undiagnosed Disease Network at Columbia, and so that was kind of a big part of my story. And then a year ago, Kate and Carrie and I met in New York and kind of did a big unveiling that we were writing a book together, or we had sold a book to HarperCollins. We hadn't written it yet, but we had sold it. It's a lot of pressure. And now we're going back to New York when the book comes out. And funny, we're at this amazing bookstore, and they were like, "What's your relationship with New York?" And I was like, I love Chinatown and fake Gucci." Like, "Oh, I have a lot of followers in New York." Lies. You're going to be in Austin. Yay, good. I've never been to Austin, Texas. Will you have any time to advocate? We'll see if I do. Mm. Where are you going to be in Naperville? In Naperville, we are going to be at, let's see, the Austin bookstore is Book People. In Naperville, where are we going to be in Naperville? I think it's Anderson's bookstore. Does that make sense? Anderson. Phyllis, I love you. Everybody should buy 1 or 2 extra books and donate to your local library. Oh, I wish they would. It's probably very annoying. I had no idea that you had to work so hard to sell a book. I just thought you wrote a book and then the magic book fairies just sprinkled the book into the universe. It doesn't happen. We could have written the most amazing book on the planet and no one would ever see it. I don't know what you do if you don't have social media. You're totally screwed. Are you speaking in New York? Sort of. We have some things in New York that we are not at liberty to disclose yet, but we will be at the corner bookstore. I keep wanting to call it the corner bookseller, the corner bookshop, the corner bookstore, on Madison Avenue on April 1st night. And then we are having dinner with our agent. And then we have some big fun playing the next day. And then I am hauling my fanny home to get back to tuck Amos in the bed that night. So there you have it. Today I told my husband, I was like, it was a long day today. We had kind of a long day today. And he was like, well, you were gone all last week. I was like, I took a teenager skiing. This was not vacation. Like my idea of going, like taking children somewhere is not vacation. My idea of vacation is not the Seychelles or the Canary Islands. My idea of vacation is sitting right here in my house alone. That's all I need. I don't need anything fancy. Your guess is the Jenna show. So I would love to be on the Jenna show, but someone is going to have to convince Jenna to have us on the Jenna show. It has currently not happened. Did you get hot water? Yes, our hot water heater keeps going off. And of course, I was the only person that didn't know we didn't have hot water because I tried to take a shower in like 3 days. I took one tonight, no seal. Slick and clean I am. You'll sell the books like Girl Scout cookies. I bought 2 boxes of Girl Scout cookies this weekend. I was going to the coffee shop and they were like, are you going to buy Girl Scout cookies? And the woman that asked me runs a store downtown that I want to participate. Like when I have I have 100 people coming to town this whatever. And I want them to give my followers 10% off. And I was like, well, I will buy these cookies and you are going to give 10% off to my followers. She was like, of course I will. I'm like, great. I didn't buy Thin Mints. I bought something with peanut butter. Really like peanut butter. And then I bought those. They're kind of like the cakey cookies. Tree horns. I don't know what the hell they are. So I was a Girl Scout. I had no interest in being a Girl Scout. I didn't mind selling the cookies, actually. I've always been sort of, shocker, a salesman type. So I ran around the neighborhood and I sold a bunch of the cookies. Oh, they're called trefoils. And because I wanted to go to New York City. Oh, see, New York City again. And the Girl Scouts were going to New York City. So I sold enough cookies to go to New York City. One, when the cookies came in, I was totally uninterested in delivering people the cookies. They'd already paid for the cookies. So I was like, good luck to you people. I guess my mother made me. I can't remember. But we went to New York, and my friend Kate Malden's mother was like the Girl Scout queen, Pat Malden. I mean, she was a force, like an amazing woman. And she had us down on the subway. This is like the early 80s. I mean, my mother had not been on a subway. And the Girl Scouts were all, they were going to the Statue of Liberty. And my mother and I and my mother's very honest. So I don't know what she did, but I remember we were like down in that subway, and before I knew it, my mom and I were at Barney's shopping. We didn't go see any Statue of Liberty. We went shopping, and I got this white skirt, and it was like flowy, and it had people all over it. And it was like the first time my mom and I had ever been shopping like together out of town, and I thought it was so special. Where do we find your info? AutismOutLoudBook.com. AutismOutLoudBook.com. Look, now everybody's discussing Girl Scout cookies. I mean, I buy what people are selling. If you write a book, I'll buy it. If you sell cookies, I'll buy it. If you make necklaces, I'll buy one. I mean, I'm a supporter. And then I'll just give it to somebody else. And I just figure, what goes around comes around. So maybe all these years I've been buying what people are peddling. Maybe now somebody will buy my stuff. Yes, thank you, Andy. I'll just put up the link. And if you are watching this on YouTube, take your finger and ting ting, double click on the screen, and that's a like, whatever, I think. So there you have it. Somebody said, I love Dosey Does. I thought you wrote, I love Dockside. I was like, I love Dockside too in Beaufort. But anyway, well, thank y'all. I'm glad you were here late like me. Did Amos get to school? Yes, and Amos has school tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I did not pick him up today because my father-in-law and I had to go to the bank, which took, like an hour and a half. And because we were closing an account. Banks do not like you to close accounts. They want to keep you as long as they can. And I've also realized banks, I'm learning a lot about banks. When you have a mortgage and you get a check from the insurance company, the mortgage company likes to hold the check and they don't like to release the check. So Truist and Adrian we're trying to come to an agreement. Like the Truist people on the ground floor, like the local Truist people, amazing. But the 1-800 Truist people, they're like, it'll be 12 to 187 days before we reconsider your request. And I'm like, well, I have a bill here for $40,000 that needs paid. I don't know what you want me to do about it. I asked my sister, Teacher's Pet Moorhead, would love to have you and Amos do a book signing day. That would be a good idea. Oh, tell her we would love it. Amos loves Teacher's Pet. It's this awesome store in Moorhead City. It's a great place for toys, books, sciencey stuff. I mean, when we go to Teacher's Pet, we go where Amos is funny. He doesn't really want to buy things. He wants to go and use all the things at the store and spend a few hours there and then leave. So you always feel like, well, I have to buy something, like we've just read every book you own. Can you remind us which platform is best? I'd say whatever is best for you. I think we love to support independent bookstores. And there's a site called, I think it's called Indie Books, INDIE books.com. And you enter in your zip code if you don't know where to get a small bookstore. And, but in North Carolina, Quail Ridge Books is selling autographed copies. It's in Raleigh. And so that's a kind of a small bookstore. I mean, you could do Barnes and Noble, you could do Target, you could do Goodreads, Thrift Books, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Jenna's book club. I will write her a letter every single day till she gives y'all notice. Ooh, that's a good idea. Where will the book signing be in San Antonio? So we are doing a retreat. Kate is doing a retreat in San Antonio. And so it's at the hotel. So it's not a public signing, but I was thinking maybe we could probably do a signing while we're there separate from the retreat. I'll just throw that out there. But I bet we can. If once this book is out, if I am in any town, I will stop at a bookstore and sign a copy just because I think that would be nice. Flyleaf Books in Chapel Hill. Oh, a friend of mine was telling me about them. I like to go to Chapel Hill. I did my master's at Carolina, and my favorite restaurant is in Carborough called Carburrito. So you can get a signed copy from Valley Booksellers, Quail Ridge Books. There's another one. I have trouble remembering. Autism Out Loud Book.com has everything you could possibly need to know. pre-order the Audible. No, it is out April 1st. So if you go ahead and pre-order, you'll get it April 1st. Ah, are books the same price no matter where you buy them? No. So there's like random, and whenever there's a special, we try to keep up with the specials where they are and then share them. So there are random discounts all the time. There was a really good discount at Target, but we didn't even know about it until it was too late. So you didn't get that. So anyway. My hair is kind of slimy. The Ohio girls are going to listen to the audio on our drive to Edenton. Oh, I love that. My Ohio girls are coming to stay with me for my weekend. Thank goodness I've just recruited somebody to help me in Edenton get ready for the weekend, because I was like, if I don't get help, people are going to get here and be like, didn't we one time get a gift bag or a badge? Or wasn't there food? Like, what has she planned? Nothing. So she's working on it. Oh, my heavens to Betsy. Oh, subscribers, see you in the morning, YouTube members and subscribers. We have Nurse Gina in the house tomorrow. So Nurse Gina is my nurse. I have a nurse every month that comes, and she is very fun. So Nurse Gina and I will be on at about 9:30 to talk about who knows what. Yes, Premier Collection. They have signed too. That's right. You are spreading yourself mighty thin. I know. I am. Would you come to Hilton Head Island? If you send your plane to pick me up, I might. There are two saying you can receive before April 1st. Well, I have heard that sometimes Barnes and Noble puts the book out like 3 days before. But the reason you don't want to wait and go to the bookstore is the bookstore might have 2 copies. Yes, Audible. You can get the audio through Audible. Good night. Subscribers, see you tomorrow. If you're not a subscriber, it's really fun. It's kind of daily coffee chat videos, and you just never know what we'll be talking about. I don't know what we'll talk about tomorrow. Probably talk about the fact that Gina broke her leg, and I told her I thought she was sprained, because I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.